Emotional blackmail, huge Meghan Markle and Harry double standard with Thomas exposed. The Sussexes are both bitterly estranged from their families, but there's only one person who is constantly being slammed for it. Now, from a Google search, as far as I can tell, the best that we can say about the town of Rosarito on the Pacific coast of Mexico is that it looks kind of like a south of the border Gold Coast. And for years, it has been a great place for American retirees who are trying to live out their sunset years in close proximity to cheap beer. Well, all that changed back in 2016. Rosarito became a place in the most exciting new royal storyline since Diana figured out how to use a fax machine. The daughter of one of the town's residents, this actress from an unknown cable dramedy series, had caught the eye of a prince, and soon enough, the press had descended on the Baja Peninsula to chase down the town's new star resident. It was an exciting time for many people, but it turned out to be just a little brief interlude in the relationship between Meghan Markle, mattress actress and former yacht girl, and a certain Prince Harry, former regular in Mayfair nightclubs turned dedicated royal trooper and official good guy. Soon enough, right after the wedding, the newlyweds became estranged from both of their relatives, and the dream was officially over. And it's at this point that the double standard I mentioned before really comes into play. We've got two remarkably similar situations. Family members who have gone public with family complaints, appearing in paid outings to lay bare all their pain and so breaking their loved one's privacy, only to then turn around and demand a public apology from these said relatives. After all, this is exactly what we saw in the case of Thomas versus Meghan, and this is also what happened in the case of Meghan and Harry, the Duke and Duchess of Hypocrisy, all their hurt feelings and the royal family. But in only one of these examples is there an expectation that the wronged party should just get over all the disloyalty. Only one of these parties is expected to just forgive and forget, and a refusal to do so is going to result in a lot of criticism. But in the other instance, their unwillingness to admit even a little bit of wrongdoing is considered to be an example of them being stoic and strong, like them refusing to capitulate to emotional blackmail. Well, I think you can guess which is which here. This week was Thomas Markle's 79th birthday, and that was a moment that was not marked by some nice time spent with his daughter, but instead, the Daily Mail's Richard Kay used it as an opportunity to take a swipe at Meghan and Harry. 5 birthdays have come and gone for Thomas Markle since he last spoke to his daughter, according to Kay. He's like a man who was secretly hoping for a call from Mills and Boone. He also wrote, of all the broken relationships that have marked Meghan and Prince Harry's life since their split from the royal family, the cruelest, surely, is how they discarded the Duchess's father. Not only has he never met his son-in-law, but he has also been robbed of his role as grandfather to Archie and Lilibet. And really, this is just the latest example of the people in the British media who are ready to buy Thomas's innocent, naive retiree routine, that he was just some unsophisticated guy who back in 2016 was trapped in the maw of the world's media, a man who only staged those paparazzi photos for money in some type of misguided attempt to get some control over his life back. And then also in the Daily Mail, Jan Moyer has previously described him as having, quote, the air of a rumpled old bear with a thorn in its paw, someone who deep down is puzzled and hurt. It's a mystery why media-loathing Harry didn't do more to protect his father-in-law instead of leaving him to cope, according to Moyer. He also wrote, Thomas Markle has made some mistakes, but even now, it is hard to see what he did that was so unforgivable his daughter has cut him out of her life so completely. And then we've got the Mail's Dan Wooten. Right now, he's facing some issues of his own, and he has repeatedly gone after Meghan Markle thanks to her attitude towards her father. Wooten wrote that Thomas lives in hope that one day his daughter will end the estrangement before his death, which he openly predicts will come in the next 3 years. When Thomas Markle appeared on the Australian 60 Minutes show earlier this year, Wooten put out a tweet saying, so glad Thomas Markle is getting his voice back. I think you get the idea. So if you subscribe to Moyer, Wooten, and Kay's thinking, Thomas Markle is more sinned against than a sinner. Now, Meghan, this argument goes, should stop robbing her discarded father of spending time with his grandkids, and her lack of care in the matter only confirms that she's a cruel and cold person. Now, the closest I can find to Thomas actually apologizing is when he said back in 2021, I'd like to say sorry for what I've done, but this was 2 years ago. I've tried to make up for it. And he also said, if I don't hear from them in 30 days, I'll do another interview. When they decide to talk to me, I'll stop talking to the press. Well, all right, that doesn't quite sound like an apology to me. But anyway, for years now, he has done more TV interviews than Fergie. And there are a few noteworthy comments describing Harry as whipped and as an idiot. So even though I do feel for him, he might not have been going about things in the best way. He's not incredibly blameless. And throughout all of this, Meghan Markle has been considered to be the one more at fault than her father is. This has not been seen as a mess that involved an adult man making these bitter comments about family members, but instead as a failing that belongs to Meghan. Supposedly, this ongoing feud between father and daughter is Meghan's fault. And yet, where is the same attitude when it comes to King Charles and William and Catherine? I mean, are we treated to these passionate pieces demanding that they forgive Meghan and Harry for having taken their family drama and turned it into a Netflix show? Are they having to face these columnists and writers writing long pieces detailing how their refusal to overlook Harry and Meghan's breaching of their privacy makes them look like a bunch of meanies? Well, they're not, to be fair. So the fact that Meghan and Harry are not excusing or forgiving Thomas, the fact that they're not welcoming him with open arms, is held up as proof of how selfish and how cruel and how thoughtless they really are. But when the royal family does essentially the same thing, it's presented as being morally superior and oh so strong and virtuous. Now, you know I'm not a fan of Meghan Markle. However, I think we need to be a little more fair in this situation. And you, what do you think about Meghan Markle's relationship with her father? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments. If you preferred it today, don't be afraid to like and share it with your friends and family members who need it too.